Śrī Rāmānujācārya. Transcript. April 2, 2025 is the appearance day of Śrī Rāmānujācārya in Vṛndāvana, India. The following is an excerpt of a bhāva anuvāda of the kathā given by Śrī Bhakti Vijñāna Bhāratī Gosvāmī Mahārāja on the disappearance day of Śrī Rāmānujācārya on February 6, 2017 and February 9, 2014. Editor's input. Additional text has been included in square brackets to facilitate flow of content. Today is the disappearance day of Śrīla Rāmānujācārya. It also happens to be the annual festival of Śrī Caitanya Gauḍīya Maṭha, Goalpārā, Assam, where the deities of Śrī Rādhā Dāmodara were installed. Our Guru Mahārāja installed various deities in such a way that the respective annual festivals of the different branches of Śrī Caitanya Gauḍīya Maṭha did not coincide with each other. Birth and early pastimes. Rāmānujācārya was born in 1017 AD on the 12th day of Chaitra, March se April on Panchami Tithi. His father was Asuri Sarvakritu Keshav Deshik and his mother was Kantinti Devi. His father Sarvakritu was expert in performing all varieties of yagyas. He performed a yagya at the Parthasarthi temple situated in Chennai with a desire to have a son, and Ramanuj was born as a result. Being born on the same tithi as Lord Lakshman, he was named Lakshman Deshik. Later he received the name Ramanuj. The birthplace of Ramanuj is Sriperumbudur in Tamil Nadu, which is just 32 kilometers away from Kanchipuram. When he was just a small boy, his father left this world. Ramanuj was also married off at an early age. His mother sent him to study under the tutelage of Yadav Prakash, a preacher of the Advaita Vedanta philosophy. Ramanuj and his guru frequently disagreed in interpreting Vedic texts. Once while Ramanuj was giving an all massage to Yadav Prakash, he began explaining the meaning of a particular passage from the Chandogya Upanishad, Tasya Yat Kapyasam Pundarikam Ev Akshini. Yadav Prakash interpreted the word Kapyasam as the lotus eyes of the Lord are red just like a monkey's posterior. As soon as Ramanuj heard this, tears began to flow from his eyes and fell onto Yadav Prakash's body. Yadav Prakash inquired, Lakshman, did you receive some inauspicious news from your home? What is the reason behind your crying? Ramanuj submitted, your blasphemous interpretation is the cause behind my weeping. Yadav Prakash asked, what was so vulgar about my interpretation? Then Ramanuj pronounced, the interpretation of the word Kapyasam could also be Pipti iti Kapi, referring to the sun which evaporates moisture. Just as the rising sun is crimson, so are the lotus eyes of the Lord. Yadav Prakash said, indeed, your meaning is correct and so is mine. But I referred to the Abhida, direct or literal, meaning of the term while your reference was to the Lakshan, symbolic or metaphoric, meaning of the term. Although externally Yadav Prakash downplayed the situation, internally he pondered, this boy is indeed very sharp, therefore, in the future he will challenge my interpretations. Thenceforth, he became wary of Ramanuj and, eventually, he resolved to somehow eliminate him. Thus, Yadav Prakash and his son conspired, escaping a murderous plot by his guru. As few days passed, Yadav Prakash made an announcement to all his disciples, it takes 3 months to scrutinizingly study the Vedant and thus we shall set out to Kashi. Interested candidates should ready themselves for the departure. We shall return after 3 months. Ramanuj asked for his mother's opinion who said, there is no need to go. However, his aunt Diptinti Devi approached his mother and affirmed, dear sister, you have to tolerate the separation from your son for the sake of his progress. I am to sending my son Govind to Kashi. Then Kantinti Devi gave her consent. Govind and Ramanuj along with the other students proceeded for Kashi. Upon reaching the Vrindachal forest, which was very dense and beautiful, they camped for the night near a fresh water facility. Ramanuj woke up early the following morning and went for his bath. Upon his return, Govind revealed, "Look, today is supposed to be the last day of your life, because the conspiracy to eliminate you has already been hatched. So if you desire to live longer, you must escape." Ramanuj grabbed his wet clothes and immediately fled from that place. However, he encountered unending dense forest in every direction he proceeded, and the sun was about to set. Overcome with intense thirst, Ramanuj thought, "Now there is no way of escaping, and soon the wild beasts will devour me." Just then he noticed a hunter and his wife seated underneath a tree. He approached them and asked, "Where are you heading?" They replied, "Kanchipuram." Ramanuj pleaded to accompany them, and they agreed. That hunter's wife, realizing that Ramanuj was thirsty, requested her husband to give him some water to drink. The hunter inquired, "Will you drink water?" Ramanuj considered, "How can I drink his water? I am a Brahman, and this person is a hunter. Therefore, I should not accept water from him." Ramanuj remembered how once a person, from a higher caste, had accepted boiled urad dahal from a mahut just to save his life. Later, after the mahut thoroughly cleansed his drinking container and offered him water, he had refused, "I cannot accept water from you." Bewildered, the simple-hearted mahut indicated, even the urad dahal was cooked with the same water. He replied, "True. However, I accepted your offering only to save my life, therefore, now that my life has been saved, I no longer need any water." Following this precedent, Ramanuj accepted a palm full of water thrice. After drinking it, he felt drowsy, so he laid down a short distance away from the hunter and his wife. When he awoke the next morning, he saw a colossal banyan tree beside a bori, a large well where water is fetched by going down the steps instead of using a pulley, and which is also used for swimming. Ramanuj began to wonder, "Where am I?" Upon inquiring from the passers-by about the location, they responded, "This is a forest. Is there any settlement nearby?" He asked further. They said, "Yes, Kanchipuram is nearby." So he headed for Kanchipuram and upon arriving there, took his bath in the Vaikuntha Sarovar lake. After bathing, while meditating on his worshipable Lord, Sri Lakshminarayan, he realized that the hunter and his wife were none other than them. Later he proceeded for Sri Perumbudur. When he reached his residence, his aunt, who was also present, asked, "The study time was supposed to be 3 months, so what made you return so quickly, before everyone else?" Then Ramanuj related to them everything about the conspiracy plotted against him and requested that they remain tight-lipped about it. Liberating a ghost. Ray. When Yadav Prakash returned, he found Ramanuj at home. Since his plot to kill Ramanuj was seemingly unbeknown, he confidently sent an envoy requesting Ramanuj to resume his studies. This time around Yadav Prakash was giving his interpretation on the Mahavakya of Upanishad, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, everything is Brahma, there is nothing other than Brahma. Jeev is also Brahma. The trend continued. Ramanuj again challenged Yadav Prakash's statement, affirming that Satyam, Jnanam and Anantam are in fact adjectives attributed to the Lord. The Lord is endowed with the quality of supreme truth, intelligence and infinitude. Yadav Prakash now understood how severe of a threat Ramanuj posed to his reputation and returned to the idea of finishing him. Around that time, the king of the Chol dynasty sent a palanquin for Yadav Prakash petitioning him to come and exorcise a ghost possessing his daughter. Yadav Prakash requested Rāmānuja to accompany him, as an excuse to flaunt his reputation as an accomplished tantric. Once they arrived at the palace, Yadav Prakash began by chanting the mantras. However, the ghost within the princess only laughingly ridiculed him. Your efforts will be futile. Don't waste your time here. Enraged, Yadav Prakash shouted, How dare you? The ghost in possession of the princess demanded, I will leave immediately only if your disciple Rāmānuja keeps both his feet on my head. Seeing no other alternative, Yadav Prakash inevitably requested Rāmānuja to honor the ghost's demand. As soon as Rāmānuja placed his feet on her head, the princess fell unconscious and the ghost left her. After this incident, Yadav Prakash's envy toward Rāmānuja increased exponentially. He worried, this way, I will never become famous. Instead, I will only invite infamy. The girl got delivered merely by the touch of Rāmānuja's feet on her head, but I could not deliver her even by chanting powerful mantras. As a result of his growing spite, Yadav Prakash demanded that Rāmānuja forsake his company. Leaving home. After parting ways with Yadav Prakash, Rāmānuja met Kanchipurna, a disciple of Yamunacārya. Kanchipurna addressed Rāmānuja as Acharya because by consideration of birth, he was born in a lower caste. Rāmānuja used to daily visit the Varadaraj temple in Kanchipuram, and there he discovered Kanchipurna reading the Albandaru Stotra every day. One day Rāmānuja invited Kanchipurna to his home for food. In Vaishnav parlance, Vaishnavas do not say, please come and take prasad, instead they say, please come and give prasad. Because only when any Vaishnav guest comes and accepts food will it become prasad. So Rāmānuja requested Kanchipurna to come and give prasad to him. Kanchipurna was on his way to honor the invitation when Rāmānuja left his house to receive Kanchipurna. However, since Kanchipurna had taken another route, they did not intercept. Once Kanchipurna arrived at Rāmānuja's residence, he explained to Rāmānuja's wife that Acharya had invited him, but he was also pressed for time, as he had Stuti Path Seva, glorifying the Lord with select hymns and prayers, to perform in the temple of Varadaraj. Therefore he requested, if the prasad is ready now, please allow me to honor it. His wife offered Kanchipurna the prasad on a leaf plate, and after he had honored it, she immediately discarded his plate and carefully purified the house by smearing cow dung, thinking that a person belonging to a lower caste partook food in a Brahman house. After Kanchipurna left, Rāmānuja's wife took a bath to purify herself and began cooking again in wet clothes. She disposed of the leftovers considering them remnants of a Shudra and carefully washed all the vessels again. When Rāmānuja arrived, he inquired, I have invited Kanchipurna and still you have not cooked. What if he arrives now? I will feel so embarrassed. His wife replied, he already came, honored prasad and left. Rāmānuja became very dejected with his wife, thinking, I wanted to take his Mahaprasad remnants, but my wife has thrown away the leaf plate and now cleansed the place with cow dung. On another occasion, one sadhu setting out for a distant journey 3 kosas, 1 kos is 2.25 miles away into a desolate area with no other villages, heard the glories of Rāmānuja Atithi Seva, the honoring of guests, and decided to pay his home a visit. Rāmānuja's wife, however, dismissed that sadhu and refused to feed him. After leaving Rāmānuja's home, he encountered Rāmānuja on the path. Rāmānuja inquired from him where he was set out for in so much heat. He said, I had heard Acharya name, and thus I inquired from the locals and went to his house. but he was not present and his wife would not provide anything. Rāmānuja was extremely distressed to hear this. Thus, he wrote a letter to his wife posing as her father, informing her to come home immediately as her younger sister was getting married and her mother could not make all the requisite arrangements by herself. Please inform Acharya and come home quickly. Then Rāmānuja requested that same person, who was previously denied any hospitality, to return to his home and deliver this message to his wife. This time, once Rāmānuja's wife realized that he was a messenger sent by her father, she treated him with great respect, fed him and showed him great hospitality. Later she presented that same letter to Rāmānuja, who promptly organized a chest trunk and filled it with all her jewels and clothes. Then he sent 2 men and 1 woman to accompany his wife to her father's place. The wife did not even read that letter. Just by hearing that this person had come carrying some message from her father, she treated him so affectionately. Rāmānuja read her the letter aloud, which he had drafted himself. When she inquired why so many clothes were being packed, Rāmānuja asserted, "Why should you waste time washing clothes there? You can bring the used clothes here for the servants to wash." Upon being asked why so many jewels were needed, Rāmānuja assured, "If you take only the jewels I gave you, people will suspect I have sold the jewels that your father offered you, and if you were to take only those jewels given by your father, then people would presume that your in-laws did not give you any jewels. So take them all and go." The person who brought the letter accompanied her, and once they arrived near her father's home, that sadhu took permission to leave and went. As soon as his wife departed for her parents' home, Rāmānuja abandoned his house. Srila Prabhupada accepted so many teachings from Rāmānujācārya. Though Rāmānujācārya was born in a Brahman family, he had so much respect for Vaishnavas. He always accepted Vaishnavas as worshipable beyond their caste, creed or bodily designations. Accepting Diksha and Sannyas. After leaving home, he accepted Diksha from Goshtipurna. Later he inquired from Kanchipurna, who has composed this Albandharu Stotra. Yamunacārya. Kanchipurna replied. Yamunacārya had 4 prominent disciples, Shailpurna, Goshtipurna, Mahapurna and Kanchipurna. Shailpurna was Rāmānuja's uncle, mother's brother, so he took Rāmānuja to Yamunacārya. By the time they reached Srirangakshetra, Yamunacārya had already left his body, yet they noticed that 3 of Yamunacārya's fingers were curiously folded. Rāmānuja inquired to know whether those fingers were previously in that position, and the response was no. Rāmānuja immediately understood that some desire of this Mahapurush had not yet been fulfilled. So he took 3 vows. 1. I will write a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, later known as Shri Bhashya. 2. I will deliver the fallen souls by giving them Harinam. 3. I will preach all over India and establish Bhakti Shastra. As he took each of those 3 vows, each of Yamunacārya's 3 fingers unfolded in sequence. Then people proposed, "You have come so far, you should take darshan of Sri Ranganath." Rāmānuja replied, "No, I will not see that cruel Lord. He did not allow me to have darshan of my Guru. Nothing can happen without his wish. So, I will not see him either." Afterwards, he accepted sannyas in front of Yamunacārya portrait. For this reason people consider him the disciple of Yamunacārya, because Nam, Vigraha and Swarup are one and the same. Then he was given the name Rāmānuja. Yamunacārya left his body before Rāmānuja could meet him in person. And in spite of this, Rāmānuja understood his Guru instruction. What lesson do we learn from this? That Guru reveals himself to a person who is surrendered. Fasting without darshan of the Lord. Once while Rāmānuja was in Puri, he found some discrepancy with one of the sevakas of Lord Jagannath. So, the same night, Lord Jagannath transported him to Kurmakshetra in a palanquin. However, seeing no Vishnu deity there, he fasted for 3 days, thinking, how can I accept prasad without taking darshan of Vishnu? At that time, Kurm, who was covered with sandalwood paste, it is a rule in South India that the deity is covered with sandalwood paste, was mistaken by Ramanuj for a Shivling, and for this reason he was not accepting any prasad. Finally, the Lord revealed to him, I am not a Shivling, I am Kurm. Afterwards, Ramanuj happily worshipped the Lord and honored prasad. Kuresh a Shishya. In due course of time, Ramanuj began attracting many disciples. At one point, he was awarding Diksha to hundreds. At that time, only Brahmanas were accepted as disciples, but Ramanuj initiated, accepting all, regardless of caste. Ramanuj propounded, it is better to be consumed by a tiger than to visit a temple of Lord Shiv. The mood of worshipping Shiv, considering him as supreme, even higher than Vishnu or Narayan, is rejected here by Ramanuj. Vaishnavas worship Lord Shiv as the foremost Vaishnav, the greatest devotee of the Lord. Such worship of Lord Shiv is not prohibited. There was a disciple of Ramanuj named Kuresh. When the Shaivates observed that many other Shaivates were converting to Vaishnavism, they thought Ramanuj is spoiling all of them, so the Chol king, who was also a Shaivate, invited Ramanuj to his palace for a debate. Knowing that his guru life was in danger, Kuresh requested Ramanuj to change into ordinary clothes and go to Srirangpatnam, and he went to the king's palace in his stead. When Kuresh arrived, the Chol king asked him, do you believe that there is no other supreme truth beyond Shiv? Shivat Partaro Nasti. Kuresh replied, yes, there is, Asti. Dronam Asti Tatah Param. Dron, a unit of calculation, is greater than Shiv. This statement infuriated the Chol king, who thus ordered his men to kill Kuresh, who he assumed was Ramanuj. But remembering that Ramanuj previously saved his daughter, he spared his life but ordered his men to pluck the very eyes with which he had read the Shastras. Afterwards, he was sent back to Rangakshetra, Srirangam, where he was left to maintain himself by begging for the remainder of his life. When Ramanuj came to know of this, he ordered Kuresh to go to Lord Varadraj to ask for a boon. Kuresh went to Varadraj and asked that nothing inauspicious should happen to the Chol king and all the citizens of his country, who were at fault for not having opposed the king. After he returned, Ramanuj sent him back saying, you did not ask anything for me. Please, I still require you for more service. So, by the mercy of Lord Varadraj, Kuresh got his eyes back. Kuresh had a photographic memory. Once he accompanied Ramanuj to Kashmir, where they visited a Vaishnodevi temple in Shakti Peeth. The library there contained the Bodhayan Vritti. When Kuresh inquired if he could read the Vritti, the response was, no, the worms have eaten it. But Saraswati Devi presented the book to Ramanuj. Kuresh read it day and night until he memorized it completely. Later, when the Kashmiris discovered that Ramanuj and Kuresh were in possession of that book, they sent some men on horses to confiscate it. After they seized the book, Ramanuj became dejected. However, Kuresh, having memorized the whole book, reproduced it exactly from memory and offered it to Ramanuj. Later, the reproduced version was compared with the original book housed in the library, and it matched perfectly. On the basis of this Bodhayan Vritti, Ramanuj went on to write the Shri Bhashya, his commentary on the Vedant Sutra. Guru becomes a disciple. Yadav Prakash, the former preceptor of Ramanuj who had once plotted to kill him, eventually accepted initiation from Ramanuj following the instruction of a dream his mother had prophesying that adversity would befall her son Yadav Prakash lest he accept Ramanuj as his guru. In doing so would be his saving grace. I have sold myself for Guru Seva. Ramanuj had a disciple named Varadaraj and his wife's name was Lakshmi. There was another wealthy disciple, Yogesh, in the same town. Once while Ramanuj was visiting that town, he did not go to the residence of Yogesh. Instead he went to Varadaraj's residence. Varadaraj used to maintain himself by begging and serving the Lord. When Ramanuj approached his residence, Varadaraj's wife, Lakshmi, did not step out to greet her guru. Ramanuj understood this was due to the fact that she did not even have proper clothes to cover herself. So Ramanuj tossed her to bed sheets with which she could use to wrap around herself and step outside to offer pranams. Lakshmi was very beautiful and a local businessman was attracted to her beauty. Realizing that there were no items in the house to serve her guru and the accompanying guests, she approached that businessman and requested from him some items for her home. Lakshmi promised, "First I will render seva to my guru and later I will fulfill your desire." The businessman became very excited and sent more than what she had asked for. Using these resources, Lakshmi served her guru and all his disciples very well. When Varadaraj returned home from begging, he saw that his guru had already arrived with so many disciples. He asked his wife how she had arranged for the feast when he was not able to collect a single item that day. She told him, "First honor prasad, then I will explain," but Varadaraj insisted. Lakshmi said, "You often quote that we should render Guru Seva even by sacrificing our whole wealth. I am your property. So today I have sold myself for the sake of rendering Guru Seva." When Ramanuj realized what had transpired, he instructed Varadaraj and Lakshmi to go and offer the businessman some of his Mahaprasad remnants. Sure enough, after the businessman honored them, his heart completely changed, so much so that he offered his Dandvat pranams to Lakshmi. She told the businessman, "This is not my glory, it is the glory of my Gurudev." Overwhelmed, the businessman became a disciple of Ramanuj and served him throughout his life. From this incident we can understand the greatness of Ramanuj. I can go to hell to serve my Guru. Once while Ramanuj was residing at Shalpurn ashram for 4 months, he noticed that Shalpurn's servant, Govind, would roll about on his Gurudev bed after the bed was already made. Unable to fathom this conduct, and hence considering Govind a hypocrite, Ramanuj warned him, "You will have to go to hell if you don't respect your Guru. You are tossing around on your Guru bed. What kind of a disciple are you?" Shalpurn heard this and realized that Ramanuj did not understand Govind heart. To resolve the misunderstanding, he summoned Govind and asked, "Are you lying in my bed and tossing around?" Govind said, "Yes, Guruji." Shalpurn inquired, "Don't you know that just by crossing over the shadow of one's spiritual master, not to speak of lying on his bed, one will go to hell?" Govind said, "Yes, you have made me aware of this long ago." Then Shalpurn asked, "Then, do you have so much interest to go to hell?" Govind replied, "I don't mind going to hell. I do so to examine the bed thoroughly to ensure that there are no rough, knotty spots or other elements on the bed that might disturb your sleep. It doesn't matter if I have to go to hell for this." Ramanuj was delighted to hear this explanation.